Jay, what was your most surprising one?
You know what, Britt? I hate to bring the
It's
Cowboys
cool.
back up because I've
Uh,
kind of moved off of them, but
that
I
is
think
tough.
winning in Pittsburgh was huge. On the road at night
Mm-hmm.
after the weather delay. A
Yeah.
team, Cowboys are a team that were beat up, had a bunch of guys not playing in that game. It felt like that game was really going to be served to the Steelers on a silver platter, and Dallas just kept hanging around. And then, of course, Dak makes a nice play at the end to throw the touchdown. So I think Dallas over Pittsburgh because given the fact that they had so many guys hurt and they're just a beat up
Mm-hmm.
football team right now, and to go into Pittsburgh and steal that win, I thought that was huge.
Jay, it's funny you say that. It was huge, but on the other end of that, and I'm not being a hater or anything like that. You're looking at it and saying Pittsburgh has a strong defense, right? But are they still one of those teams that will scare you in the playoffs? And I'm right now about Pittsburgh. I'm gonna say no. So
Yeah, I
to me,
agree.
that's not a surprising win. If if Dallas is their fan base or whoever the media, whoever it may be, is always talking about how good of a team Dallas is, or how many great players they have, or how many all pros they have, or they had the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl or whatever it may be. And we still hearing this even when they have injured players, but you only win by 3 against Pittsburgh. I guess I'm kind of on the other side of that one just a little bit. I get what you're saying because of the injuries or whatnot, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not impressed with this victory. Should I say that? I'm just not sure if I'm impressed with this victory. I'm not sure if I look at Dallas and say, you know what, dang, that's a team I got to worry about when it comes down to it, when it comes to the playoff time. I mean, let's be real. We haven't really had to worry about them in like the last 30 years, but just saying, based off, that's not shade, based off of
It's all
how
right if
people
it is.
talk
It's the
about
truth.
Dallas, even to this day, I'm just not impressed with this win. I just can't. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I guess the reason I thought it was impressive is because Pittsburgh, even though I agree with you, Britt, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they're really scary, especially offensively. They were a
Right.
3-1 football team. I think most people probably expected
Mm-hmm.
them to beat Dallas at home. So I just thought the Cowboys really gutted out a tough win. But I
Right.
see where you're going with that.
My other question with Pittsburgh, since we're week 5 recap, um, Pittsburgh's lost 2 games. A couple of those games, Justin Fields is going back to Justin Fields. He's looked okay, right? He's looked pretty
Hmm.
decent.
Yeah.
Is there any opportunity? Mike Tomlin, I still don't think has announced him to be the official starting quarterback for the rest of the season, which is crazy to me. Um, do you see Russ, based off how you're seeing Pittsburgh's offense going right now? Do you see a potential for Russell Wilson to step in as a starter? Anybody can take it. Is
No,
there
I
opportunity?
mean, yeah, unless he gets hurt or unless he just stinks up the joint, meaning Justin Fields, I don't see
Hmm.
Russ being in there, man. I just think you have to continue to ride this guy. This guy's been putting you in a situation each and every week to win a ball game. I mean, last what was it, Sunday night?
Hmm.
It took them to come down. It took Cowboys to come down and win in the last 20 seconds. You can't put that on Justin Fields. Justin Fields put them in a situation to win that ball game, and as well as the other four, or the other three as well. No, the four, excuse me, the other four as well. So I don't think he's doing anything to lose his job in this situation. I mean, again, unless he just goes out there and throws 3 picks and fumbles the ball or something like that, and you lose 2 in a row, then you may want to go to Russ. But I think you continue to ride Justin Fields until the wheels actually fall off of this thing. And I don't think they're
Hmm.
getting squeaky. They're getting squeaky. Don't get me wrong. That game was a little bit squeaky, but I think they can put some oil on that, get that thing right, and regroup and get it back. And if he messes up next game, then you give him one more. And if he messes up in that game,
Right.
then I think you go to Russ. But I think he has a long leash right now, to be perfectly honest with you. If I'm thinking like, if I'm looking at the situation like Mike
Hmm.
Tomlin is looking at the situation, I don't think you want to just blow this thing up, just panic because of one loss in this situation, in my opinion.
So Jay, I'm gonna come to you with this question. So, K Walk, I know you say you don't think he's doing anything to lose his job, but Jay, do you think he's doing enough to keep his job? Because when I look at his games, they're not scoring any more than maybe 17, 20 points per game. And as the season goes along, the games are going to get a little bit tougher. You're going to have more power, more offensive powered teams, and you're going to have to score more points. Will Russ provide them a better opportunity by decision making, maybe in certain situations, to get this offense to score some more points?
Yeah, that's a great question. While I don't really disagree with anything that K Walk said, I can kind of see it from the other side because number one, I feel like if Tomlin really was 100% behind Justin Fields, why hasn't he just come out and said, "Hey, this is our guy. We're going to go forward
Mm-hmm.
with him. Russ is going to be our backup. If something happens to Fields, we got an experienced backup ready to go." Like to me, give me that. If I'm Justin Fields, give me that vote of confidence if
Yeah.
you really
Right.
believe in me. The second thing, Britt, is to your point. I agree. While he's played good enough, like I don't think he's been great or good enough to say, look, this job is mine. What was he was 15 for 27 for 131 yards on Sunday night.
Right.
Like that's not setting the world on fire by any stretch of the
Mm-hmm.
imagination. And then I think it goes back to expectations, right? Like Pittsburgh is not a team that's just hoping to be okay or oh, if we squeak into the playoffs, everything. Like I think Pittsburgh has goals, like they want to win, right? And
Mm-hmm.
does Russ give you a better opportunity to win? I don't know if he does, but I don't necessarily think Fields has played so well that they can't afford to sit him down for a couple weeks and at least see what Russell
Right.
Wilson's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And then I know they're in the running for Devontae Adams. I believe they're one of the teams as well. So between them, the Jets, and there may be a couple other players. Um, I think the Chiefs are out. K Walk, you may think otherwise. I just don't see them trading him within a division.
Yeah, I agree.
I,
No, but I wouldn't be
mhm,
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. But I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Go ahead.
mhm. No, you're fine. I was getting ready to go to the next question, so you're good. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I just want to just touch on this a little bit of the Russ thing and just a little bit
Hmm.
here. It's like it's so funny to me how so many people jump the gun as soon as a loss has happened or as soon as a win happens. It's like
Hmm.
everyone has to have that perfect game in order to keep their job, or they have to have that perfect game, in order for everything to be fine before we start blowing things up. And they're 3-2 right now. No, they're three
Right.
and two right now. And
Hmm.
you go in here, and if you're a Steelers fan and you're not sure who the quarterback is going to be, and you say you're 3-2, and I think they're ahead of the AFC North right now, if not tied there. I don't know the record right off the top of my head. Baltimore I think might be in the top of the division, but nonetheless, I think you welcome this. I think you welcome
Hmm.
this, and you don't have to worry about it. If it's not broke, don't break it. I mean, really, because no one's going to go 17-0. No one's going to go 17-0,
Right.
and throughout the season. I don't care how you start, and I don't care how you finish. You're
Hmm.
not going to. You're not going to go 17-0. Sorry.
Okay, well, is it that they're panicking, or is it saying, you know what, we may have an opportunity here, and we just don't know if Justin Fields have has enough experience or in certain situation, basically just make good decisions in order to ensure that this team can take advantage of this opportunity, right? Russ, we're not saying Russ is all, what Russ may have been with Seattle, but some people I feel like are saying more of, man, this situation should have been a touchdown. He missed this throw. That's a throw that Russ definitely makes. This is a read that Russ will not miss based off of the type of player that he is or once was, and his veteran experience. Because we still haven't seen it from Justin Fields. Justin Fields has been in the league for how long now? And we just haven't seen it from him. Great. He makes some fantastic plays a lot of times with his feet. He has a couple impressive throws, maybe throughout the over the
Mm-hmm.
course of the first 4 or 5 weeks. But is it enough impressive plays to say, you know what, you could take us to where we want to go or to what we're trying to accomplish? If there's still that hesitation on of we just don't know what Justin Fields, but we have someone who has shown it and has proven it, then do you think it's a panic move, or is it maybe a more cautious, like yo, we got Russ. Let's put Russ there to see if he can get us over this hump because we don't think Justin Fields is going to be able to do it. Does that make sense what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
perfect sense, perfect sense. And I think we won't know unless you allow him to grow. I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to. I mean, you said you speak of experience. How is he going to gain experience by sitting on the bench, by sitting behind
Mm-hmm.
Russ? We know what Russ can do.
Mm-hmm.
We get it, but we have to. This is the guy who's younger, who has, I think his ceiling is a lot higher than Russ's. To be perfectly
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, in the situation, I get it. Russ has been there,
Right.
done that. Russ has been there,
Right.
done that. But unless you put
Mm-hmm.
him in there and allow him to work through those pains, work through those growing
Mm-hmm.
pains, if you will, then you won't know what he's going to be made of when it comes down to saying, okay, it's that time for you to, I don't know what number
Mm-hmm.
we put on there, because we always say it's a small sample size. We always use the term not enough experience, but how do you gain experience
Right.
if you don't get the experience, if you don't get the opportunity to gain that experience? So I say all that to say, listen, I think you go with Justin Fields. You name him your quarterback until he just absolutely stinks up the joint, loses a game for you. Because I don't think he lost the
Mm-hmm.
game Sunday night against the Cowboys. I think he did what he's supposed to do. I just don't think that defense held up
Mm-hmm.
for him at the end. But nonetheless, Justin Fields should be that guy. And then unless he stinks up the place or gets hurt, knock on wood, then you bring in Russ. You don't.
But
You
okay,
stay
well,
with your quarterback.
let me throw this at you because I think I see where you're coming from. I do,
Mm-hmm.
but the other thing I would say, like, is it really the coach's job to like worry about? Oh, I want to get this guy some experience. I just feel like it's Tomlin's job to put the best team out there, like
Right.
at this time, like the experience, yeah, I want to get this guy some work. Like all that has value, definitely has value. But at the end of the day, his job is to win games. So I just think
Mm-hmm.
who gives me the best chance to win? And while I agree with you, like I don't think Justin Fields is the reason they lost any of their football games. The other side of that is when the going gets tough, is he going to be able to win me a football game? Like, is it enough just to have a guy out there that's not going to lose the game for me? Or do I potentially want to put a guy out there who I think in the thick of it might make the throw, might make the play that can
Right.
actually win me a game? So I just think that's the other side of it. I'm not even calling for Fields to come out because
No, I
I
get you.
think he's played pretty well, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if Russ could play better. And if Russ could be better, then I think it's the Steelers' job to put the best guy out there. But again, they see him in practice every day. They know more than I do. But that's the only way that I'm kind of looking at it.
Well, let me ask you this, Jay, because you mentioned, Justin Fields wasn't the reason why they lost the two games that they
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
So when he put him in a situation where they have to come back and win. I mean, I think if he fails two games in a row, then you do that, and it starts to get down to the end. Then maybe you consider Russ, but like you mentioned, he wasn't the reason that they lost those two games that they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He was the reason why you can even say that he wasn't the reason why they lost the three games. You can make an argument of that he wasn't the reason why they won the three games that they won as
Right.
well. But I don't think he's in a situation. I think he's in a situation right now where he's doing everything to not lose the game. He's not losing the game for these guys. You could say he's not winning them. But
Right.
the thing is, he's not losing them. And I think that's what's more important
Mm-hmm.
is they're not losing because of him. And I think until they do lose because of him, you allow him to continue to stay on the field until otherwise. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to, and it might be a little later, but their goals. What is your goal for this season? Is your goal is to continue what you're doing now? Then keep Justin Fields in there, right? And I'm not saying Justin Fields can't take that next step. I think he potentially can. I'm not exactly sure. We just haven't seen it yet. Or is their goal, because their schedules get ready to get harder, much harder than what they have thus far. Is their goal is to make it to the playoffs and potentially get as far as they can in the playoffs, especially if you go and trade for somebody like Devontae Adams. Your expectations, like Jay said last year, remember your expectations will then change. When you get a player like Devontae Adams, you're looking to make some noise in the playoffs. So can Justin Fields help to elevate this team when it needs it Or is it like, you know what, we have to put Russ in. Russ is only here with us maybe 1 year. He has the ability. We have seen it done. I know he can do it. Um, let's make the move and put Russ in now so we could get as far as we need to. Or we're hoping to when playoff time come around. So
Yeah, one
I
more
think it
point, then
just
we can so we
depends.
can
Go ahead.
no one more
Go
point
ahead,
because
K-Walk. No, go ahead.
one of the players left off the field Sunday night, and they said we need a receiver. They were walking through the tunnel and said we need a
Mm-hmm.
receiver. So they didn't say we
Mm-hmm.
need to change quarterbacks or we need Russ in there. They said we need a receiver. So
Yeah.
they need a
I don't.
receiver in there. So they
Right.
need another weapon for Justin. You get them another weapon, then we may be the tune may be changing for a lot of other people, a lot of different
And I
people.
think that's a fair point because I do
Yeah.
think some of it could just be a function of the Steelers'
Right.
offense as a whole. Because even in the
Mm-hmm.
preseason, we saw Russ, he didn't look great either. So I think some of it
Right.
could just be the function of that offense as a whole. And maybe you're right, K-Walk. It's not going to matter who's standing behind the center
Mm-hmm.
because it's just that offense, period, that just doesn't have a good flow, and they're just not able to really open up the field and do some things that we've seen other teams do.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. And I think we all agree that they need a receiver. We sitting there talking about Devontae Adams, probably should choose them or the Jets or maybe a couple other teams. But so I think we all in agreement here. You definitely need a receiver. I love George Pickens. He irritates me at times because he'll drop a pass. I don't know if anybody noticed. He drops his drop passes, and I'm like, fix your hands, man. That's what you get paid to do, to catch the ball. Catch the ball.
That's the new one, Brett. I'm gonna write
Um,
down fix your hand. Oh, okay, I didn't know that was.
dang.
I'm writing that one
Um,
down, Brett. Fix your hand.
so yeah, they definitely need a receiver, but it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna see. Still got a long season to go. We're definitely gonna see. But